Today I'm going to be performing range of motion exercises for my patient. I perform hand hygiene. I provided privacy. I've explained to my patient what I'm going to be doing. I've verified that there is no current discomfort or pre-existing problems that would prevent her from being able to perform the range of motion exercises. I'm going to start with her head. By the way, this is a full head to neck range of motion as well as full arm, including the hand exercise. I'm going to start with her head. And we're going to start by moving the head from upright midline position to her chin. Head down. Straight. There you go. As you can see, her chin is touching her chest. This is called flexion. We're going to move into the extension position, lifting her head upright, midline. And now we're going to move to hyper extension. This is tilting her head as far back as possible without her straining or hurting herself. Then we're going to come back up into the extension position. And now we're going to do lateral flexion. And this is just where she moves her head from midline position towards her shoulder, to the left, back up, and to the right, and back up. We're going to be performing the rotation, which is turning her head in a circular motion as far right as possible, back over, and as far left as possible, back over. For her shoulder, we're going to do the flexion position. And all this is lifting her arm, raising her arm from a neutral position at the side, straight up alongside her head. And then back down. And then that's the extension position, straight down. And then we have the hyper extension position. That's where you move your arm, keeping the elbow straight from her side, behind her body. Turn this way a little bit for me. And that's where the arm would flex back like this in a straight position without her hurting herself. And now we're going to move back into the extension position with your arm straight at your side. Okay, then we're going to be performing the abduction. If you don't mind, could you just stand up for me?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm going to show you that hyper extension position again. Stand still. And this is just where she flexes her arms with her elbow straight, her arm straight back as far as she can go. For abduction, she's going to raise her arm laterally from the neutral position at the side. And that's this way. She came upward. And that's abduction. Adduction is when she moves it back downward, straight down. Okay, and you do that for both arms. And then she's going to move her arm in a circular rotation. There you go. Circular rotation. Good. Okay, now we're going to move on to the external rotation. This is where she keeps her arm held out to her side and at shoulder level, and bends her elbow. Just keep it straight. Going to bend your elbow like this. There you go, and keep your hand straight. This is called the external rotation. She's going to move her arm upward, forward, and this is the internal rotation, and then down to return to the starting position. All right, you can straighten your arm back out. All right, so now we're going to move on to the flexion. And flexion is where she bends at the elbow to move the forearm from a straightened position to upward to her shoulder. So this is the flexion position. No, keep your hand straight. There you go. And then she's going to straighten it back down. And that's called the extension. So flexion, extension. All right, and we're going to do it in a rotation, supination for her hands. Can you hold your hands like this? There you go. Hold them like this. And then you're going to rotate them this way. Okay, so this is called rotation for supination and pronation. Okay, supination is this way, pronation is this way. All right, now we're going to move on to her wrist. We're going to do flexion of the wrist. Hold your hand like this for me. There you go. So with her hand pointing downward, this is the flexion of the wrist. An extension of the wrist is where she moves it up like this. This is the extension where it's straight forward, like that. There you go. So we're doing flexion, extension. And then we're going to go from flexion, extension to hyperextension, where you pull it straight back like that. Okay? And you're going to do that for both arms, for both hands, and make sure you don't overextend. So we're also going to do abduction for the radial flexion. That's where you hold your hand straight up like this, with the hand supinated. You're going to bend the wrist. Can you do this? No, hold it like this. There you go. And this way. There. So we're going to do it this way and this way. This is adduction, abduction for her radial and ulnar flexion. And then we're going to do the flexion of her hands. You're going to bend the fingers into a fist like this. This is flexion. And this is extension. There you go. And then we're going to bend the fingers back. Like this. Can you do this? There you go. And that's your hyperextension. I do apologize. That's abduction. And bring them back together. That's adduction. Alright. And then we're going to move. We're going to do the flexion of the thumb. Can you do this? There you go. Moving the thumb forward into the palm of your hand. That's flexion. And moving it away from your palm as extension. And then we have the opposition, which is taking your thumb and your second finger and doing that. All right. Well, that is the range of motion for head, neck, full arm, and hand, including the wrist part. My skill is complete after I perform hand hygiene.